Day 118. When you make big changes in your life and you have a lot of goals that you're very keen on hitting, and you're turning away from past decisions that are not sustainable, and you're just constantly working towards being optimal. Again, you're not perfect, but you're just pursuing it. Not everyone's going to understand your journey, man. Like, not everyone's going to understand why you're doing the things you're doing. And like, one thing that I've always luckily grown up with, I've not grown up with a lot of things, but one thing I have grown up with, having a little bit of insight on, is like just understanding from the jump that people think and operate differently. And that just because I grew up a certain way, or that I like a certain thing, or my decision patterns are certain ways, that doesn't mean at all that someone else will think and do the same thing. I do see out and about in public that very thing driving a lot of people nuts. It eats at people, where they get so wound up and so frustrated, and they just can't conceive why someone would, like, they're just flabbergasted why someone would make a decision like that, or why someone would want to prioritize that, or whatever. And again, people, for a lot of different reasons, might operate mentally with their decision making different than you do, or than I do. So that's something that I very much understand. But again, like, personally speaking, in my life, and I'm not even talking about a specific person or even a group of people. No one even really comes to mind. But one thing that I am acknowledging, and I don't want this to be like doom and gloom, but I've made some pretty big changes over the last year or two. And in doing so, whether it's silently, or whether it's gossiping, or whether it's direct, I'm sure at some point I'll encounter people that don't get it, or don't believe that I've changed, or want to believe that a previous version of me is actually who I am. And what I really have to understand as I continue to move forward, and know, again, I know that I'm loved by God. I know that I'm forgiven. I know that I know whose I am. And it's a really beautiful journey to step into that, and to be about the things you say you're about. But there's people on this earth, unfortunately, that are just cynics. And I don't want to say cynics by nature. Maybe the world's jaded them, or they're hurting on the inside. And it's hard, because it's like we want to love these people, the people that not only are different than us, but even people that are rude to us. Or it's so interesting. It's like there's certain people out there that if you just matched their energy, and you were the exact same as they were to you, they would be flabbergasted and be so frustrated. And that can be a pet peeve of mine. And I have to just be calm and show people love. But at the same time, and if you have anyone like this in your life, if there are cynics, or people that, because one thing I've noticed about people, I was just talking about this at church to someone today, it's actually easier to bond, for whatever reason, with someone over something negative than it is to bond with someone over something that is good and pure and long lasting. It's like the relationship doesn't have to be as deep, because especially like for men, it's easy to talk to a man and be like, oh, here's what's going on in the political world, or gosh, can you believe this weather, or oh, I can't stand that sports team. Like, you can bond about these very surface level things in a frustrated tone, and you don't have to get that deep. But to really talk about your faith, or your salvation, or look someone in the eyes and ask them how they're doing, how you can pray for them, like, for whatever reason, to agree and to really bond in a positive manner is harder for humans. So I think maybe that's why there's certain people that they just feel like it's more socially acceptable to be a cynic, and to just get in, and maybe it's involuntary, because they're so used to being in these rhythms of just acting frustrated, and maybe they don't even see it. But I just know there's some cynics that I have come in contact with in the past, where it's like you can still love them, but you also don't have to give them a ton of airtime in your life. Like, you don't have to let them and their cancerous attitude spread into any part of you. So that's, again, not, this isn't a doom and gloom message, but it's just real that we truly will encounter people on our journey, especially when we're so keen and so steadfast and so convicted by what we believe. There are people that will absolutely not understand, and that's okay. The quote specifically today is, not everyone will understand your journey. That's okay. You have to live your life with your conviction and not to make everyone understand. Like, we live our life based on our convictions. We don't live our life to try to get other people to exactly understand where we're coming from. Now, again, I love these messages. I love to connect with people. I love to show people Jesus. I love to try to inspire. I love to learn from others and listen to people that have made mistakes that that I can hopefully avoid. Like, I love the relational side of all of those things. I'm just saying that, like, if someone is not trying to understand or is not productive in your life, is being outright mean or rude or just a cynic, you don't have to give them airtime. Pray for them. But there's some people out there, and a lot of times it's like on social media more so than in real life, but there are a lot of people that will just, no matter what the comment is, you're going to get some negativity back. Whether you're trying to be positive, whether you're trying to be neutral, whether you're trying to match your energy, there's some people that just live and feed off of it, and they're just not going to understand, especially when, again, you've changed. And some people just truly want to remember you for like a past version of yourself when you have changed and you have learned about Jesus and have given your life to him. Because maybe it makes people feel better about themselves for not wanting to change. I've had a video in the past talking about that same 6-month pattern. Some people live the same 6-month patterns of their life 100 times in a row, and then 50 years later they wake up and they wonder why they haven't grown. And I was in a season where I was on that trajectory in the past, and luckily have made some real big changes. But maybe that's why people want to just remember you for who you were and not where you're going. And the people that I love and the people I connect with, like, I really try to not only listen, but to tell them, like, this is what I see in you. This is where I see you going. This is how much I know that you are capable of, and it's beautiful to see you executing on that. Like, remind people who they are and where they're going and how far they've come. And I think that's a great way to be connected to people. So the scripture today, John chapter 15, verse 18. I'm just going to read a handful of verses here, I think. But this is Jesus talking. He said, "If the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me first. If you belonged to the world, it would love you as its own. As it is, you do not belong to the world, but I have chosen you out of the world. That is why the world hates you. Remember what I told you, a servant is not greater than his master. If they persecuted me, they will persecute you also. If they obeyed my teaching, they will obey yours also." I encourage you to read that entire excerpt. It goes on all the way through verse 27, and that rounds out chapter 15. But man, that first line there is, if the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me first. We're just going to come into encounters and interactions like that in our life. Luckily, we live in a free country where we have all of the ability to live for Jesus and to proclaim that and to evangelize that. But it's not going to be without passive-aggressive comments with certain people, or it's not going to be without judgment, and that's okay. We can still show people love. But I thought it was important to at least do a video to acknowledge the real fact that, like, not everyone's going to understand where you're going, and some people are going to want to hold that version of you from your past against you, and that's okay. You can still certainly love them, still certainly pray for them, but we don't have to give the cynics airtime. We are steadfast in our conviction. We are living for Jesus and to further his kingdom. And there's so much hope and beauty in that. It's day 118.